We are officially past the bye week, and up to this point, the Minnesota Vikings have remained pretty healthy. Really, no injuries to worry about. We have the Aaron Jones hip injury, which seems to be week to week at this point. He did practice today, which is good, but it was a limited practice. What I want to say there is like it's not they weren't putting pads on basically, and they weren't going 100%. There was kind of like a walkthrough, a little bit, getting back into the groove of things after having that bye week. But the Minnesota Vikings have remained healthy. TJ Hawkinson was designated to return just, I believe, last week or 2 weeks ago. So he has until the trade deadline, I think, or until next week, the Rams game, to be activated. So we get him back. But there's one other person we all have been waiting to hear from and to see what his injury status is going to be. When is this guy going to come back? Do we even need him at this point in the season? Well, I'd say we do, mainly for the depth, but there's a chance he could take over maybe a starting role, which he actually once held before heading to the injured reserve. So let's get right into it. Before we do, make sure to hit the link in the description if you want one of these cool 3D backlit LED Minnesota Vikings logo, and use promo code VS30 for $30 off your purchase for the logo. So let's get into it. Dalton Risner is designated to return from IR. His practice window has officially opened, which is very, very good news. We've been waiting on some type of news surrounding Dalton Risner. Really hasn't there really hasn't been anything said about him. Just basically right when the season started, when he was put on IR, we were all like, oh, okay, that's going to stink, because we didn't really have too much hope. We had a little hope that this team would be all right, but now that we're rolling, we would like to have some more depth and potentially maybe a replacement at right guard. So the team announced that offensive lineman Dalton Risner has been designated to return from injury reserve and can begin practicing with the team. Now, after signing with the Vikings early in 2023, Dalton Risner re-signed with the team late this offseason and went through camp with the Minnesota Vikings. When the time came for the Vikings to put together their final 53-man roster, the team chose to put him on injured reserve with designation to return. Now, I believe it was a back injury. I'm not 100% certain on that. That's what I think it was, if I remember correctly. But when the time does come for Risner to return, it will be interesting to see what the Vikings do with him as far as position and playing time is concerned. Okay, he was the starter for the Vikings at left guard last season, but Blake Brandel has taken over that spot this year, and it doesn't appear that he's going to relinquish it anytime soon. He's actually played really, really well for us at this point in time. So I think Blake Brandel, his spot at this time is safe and sound. Okay, but right guard Ed Ingram has had his share of struggles in the early course of this season and could end up getting unseated by Risner at some point, which is what I expect to happen. Ed Ingram, for the past couple seasons now, hasn't really lived up to the hype that we all hoped that he would, right? We didn't have a right guard at that time that we drafted him. We had left tackle Christian Darrisaw, left guard Ezra Cleveland. We ended up trading Ezra Cleveland, so we need a left guard, and we also need a right guard, but we drafted Ed Ingram to take over that right guard spot, and he just hasn't been, like I said, the man we hoped that he would be. So Risner could easily step in to take over that right guard role, which I believe he's played a little bit of right guard throughout his career. So it shouldn't be that hard of a transition moving from left to right, just, switching up, different things and stuff like that. But by designating Risner for return, the team now has 21 days to place him back on the active roster. If they do not do so, Dalton Risner will go back on injury reserve and his season will be over. So exactly the same situation as it was with TJ Hawkinson. We designated him return, which gave us a 21-day window to basically add him to the active roster. If they're not added to the active roster within 21 days, their season is officially done and over with. Now, do I see that happening with Dalton Risner? Absolutely not. We need the depth at offensive line. I think his injury was more minor than it was severe. We just wanted to give him more time. And, I've heard back injuries and back problems are nothing to play around with. So you want to give him ample amount of time to kind of heal if that was his actual injury. So Dalton Risner is designated to return. He can start practicing with the team, and potentially we could see him back on the active roster within at least 3 weeks. Hopefully, I think that's going to be the case. You guys let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Drop a like and subscribe to the channel. It'd be much, much appreciated. And again, hit that link in the description for one of these Minnesota Viking logos. That's 3D. It's backlit LED, stuff like that. And use promo code VS30 for $30 off your purchase. Have a great rest of the night, folks, and Skull Vikes.